today's show, the tackling dynamo who doesn't let go, and taking the heat out of controversial umpiring. Hi, I'm Mark Bickley and welcome to The Crows Show, brought to you by the Roadhouse Whopper and Roadhouse Jack's Fried Chicken at Hungry Jack's. Also joining us, Belinda Sloan.
Bix, I've lost track of how many Crows, Guernseys, Rory's worn over the years, but would you believe there's one fan who has a collection of more than 100 of them? We'll meet him and check out his collection soon.
Thanks, Belinda. I'm in the Adelaide Oval change rooms and this is where players are strapped and prepped before the game. Now, we all know there are many young players vying for a regular place in the AFL team. One man who's grabbed his chance with both hands is Sam Berry. Since his debut, Sam's impact has been felt across the competition, with the highest number of tackles by any player, averaging more than 8 a game. And the coaches, they couldn't be happier.
Viney. Oh, Berry. No one loves a tackle more.
Bolsh. Dares past a couple. Gone. Brilliant tackle.
Very grateful to have played as many games as I have, and I think last year it kind of just went straight to the deep end pretty quickly. To get a few more under my belt, I've started to kind of adjust a little bit and hopefully just keep improving.
Oliver, Berry, ready and waiting, and wins the free this time.
Yeah, I think tackling is a strength. It's something that kind of comes pretty naturally, but I think, yeah, that pressure and I guess that pride to not get beaten is something I kind of strive for every game. So I think, yeah, the tackle's just going to happen. And Nathan Mandel, I obviously do a lot of work with him pretty much day in, day out at the club in all areas. So he's been really good. And then there's a few senior players as well. Probably the more midfielders, Sloaney, even him being injured this year, he's more than happy to take his time to do some work with me, which is great. And then I guess on field a lot with Ben Keys and Rory Laird, so they've been great as well.
He's really made some progress in the last months. He's coming back into this Adelaide team, is Berry.
Happy with the progress so far, and obviously to play as many games as I have in a row, especially starting in the SANFL at the start of the year, I wasn't really sure where it was going. So I think I exceeded a few of my own expectations there. I think towards the end of the year now, I just want to keep challenging myself and have those goals kind of set. Play every game, I think, is a good one to start, but I guess there's little things in games as well that I want to try and get to, and just probably find that consistency throughout games.
Sam's been mixing it with some of the best midfielders in the competition. Now, when you want something badly enough, the footy gods can often make it happen. For example, new AFLW recruit Amber Ward grew up as a mad Crows supporter, even joining her family in the cheer squad. Her debut in the National League, though, came with West Coast, but after 2 seasons and 14 games, her dream to one day play for Adelaide has come true.
We were part of the Crow supporters group, so I started there when I was about 13. We went to every game, sitting behind the goals, and even went over for a couple Melbourne games and Gold Coast games and stuff. So travelled around and loved watching the boys, and now the girls. All my family go for Crows, so absolutely pumped to be playing for the Crows now. I was talking to some of the list managers out at Eagles. Wasn't too sure about it at first, and they convinced me to come over and started out there 2 years ago, and yeah, loved it and learnt a lot from all the girls out there. Definitely in the second season when COVID was at its worst and the borders were constantly closed, that definitely was hard being away from family. I think being a young girl still, I missed my family a lot and yeah, needed to get home. I did have some conversations with Port, but in my heart I always knew I wanted to be at Crows. I think the family wouldn't own me if I went to Port, to be honest. Absolutely love training with Ebony Marinoff. She's been one I look up to. When she's yelling at me at training, I'm like, wow, Ebony Marinoff is yelling at me, so I definitely start running when she's yelling. It's pretty cool. I love being out there with all of them, so they've been great and really welcoming. I think just looking forward to playing for my dream team, really, and meeting all these girls and learning a lot off the best of the best, really. I feel like there's a little bit of pressure coming into a new team, you want to impress and show that they've picked the right person. Goal is round 1, but obviously we're an elite team, so if that doesn't happen, then I'll just keep learning and keep improving and hopefully get round 2. I I'll be very, very nervous, I think, coming out in front of my family and friends for the first time, because I've never actually been able to really play in front of them before. So that'll be exciting but nerve-wracking at the same time, and I'll just enjoy the moment and have some fun with it, and a dream finally come true.
Hard to believe the new AFLW season is only a little over 5 weeks away. Stay with us after the break. Belinda Sloan and a man who's hung up about Guernseys.
Many fans collect a few Crows Guernseys along the journey, but I'm fairly certain that no one will match the commitment of Leighton Ashwell. He wants to collect every single Guernsey design worn by the club since 1991 and already has more than 100 match-worn and training Guernseys. Leighton, I have to ask, why has this become your hobby?
Well, I've just always loved all the designs of all the Guernseys and interested in the history of the club, and it's sort of evolved into try and collect every design that the Crows have worn.
I understand you've got over 100 Guernseys. How many are you missing though?
I do have about 100 and I'm missing about 10 designs.
Or 10 more.
Yeah, between AFL and AFLW, all the ones they've worn.
We now come to your favourite Guernsey, I understand.
Yes.
There's a little bit of a backstory about this.
Yeah, well, this is my favourite because it was worn in the pre-season of 97 and 98, famous years, and it was worn by Mark Bickley.
Ah, impressive. I don't imagine all the Guernseys are that easy to get your hands on. Which one has been the trickiest one to track down?
Yes, well, probably one of the trickiest ones to find is the 2005 Heritage jumper. So these one-off designs are always hard to come by, and this one was based off of the 1930s state jumper and then worn by Trent Henschel.
You've teamed up with some other Guernsey collectors to write a book. How did that come about?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago now, about 5 or 6 other collectors came together, and we just all had this same desire. And between a few of us, we've got all the Crows Guernsey designs, including those 10 I'm missing, to create an illustrated guide to all the Crows Guernseys from 91 to 2021 in the first 30 years.
So what can we expect to find in that book? A bit of history?
Descriptions on all the different changes throughout the years, when they've worn the designs, and yeah, all of the pictures, the front and back of the match worn and player issues.
The very first design, Crows
Yes.
Guernsey, and that is feeling a little different to today's Guernseys.
It's the woolen style made of acrylic with the old-fashioned logo and patches on it. Sewn on, and then this is Stephen Rowe's one, and there's not even a sponsor on the back.
Wonderful. Well, good luck finding the last 10 Guernseys.
Yes, thank you.
Tracking those down.
Now, every week on the show, Tom Duday asks one of his teammates to recall their favourite Crows memory. We call them Hungry Jack's Whopper moments. This time, it's a player who remembers a highlight in the COVID-hit 2020 season.
All right, time for a Crows Show Whopper moment presented by Hungry Jacks. Will Hamill's with me today. I'm a bit nervous for where this is going to go, but how are you going, Hammy?
Great to be here, Tom.
It's exciting.
Been excited to be on this for a while now, so it's good.
Yeah. The requests were flying in, but I went with you. Take me through it, mate. Give me your Whopper moment.
Whopper moment was Brodie Smith, 2020, kicking a goal from 70 metres out. Pretty special because I gave him the handball, so pretty much my goal, but that's my Whopper moment.
Hamill, good 360 turn, gave it back to Smith. Long launch, looks good. Fredman can't get there. It beats them all home. Brilliant. Awesome.
70 metres, I've heard him say it's about 80, 85.
With the wind, yeah, I reckon 80, maybe even 90. But yeah, I mean, you can measure it out if you want. But yeah, I reckon it was pretty far back.
Gets longer every time he says it. You gave him the handball on it. Where was your point of view from the? Did you think at one stage, hey, this is actually going to go in? Were you ever like, this might bounce wide? Like, talk us through your point of view of it.
I was thinking, there's no way. This is nice inside 50 here, Brodie. Oh, it's going over someone's head and still rolling, and yeah, we managed to get through. So
happy days. One of the few highlights from that year. And then also with your leg, you know, you're pretty big unit. You reckon you can kick some from 75 out post height, or?
Yeah, most likely. I'm a pretty caring bloke, so to give those ones off and see them have their little moment of happiness is
prioritising others.
It brings me joy.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That's my boy. That's what you do, Hammy. Thank you for joining us, mate. It was a good one.
Pleasure to be here.
Every time you attend an Adelaide Crows home game, you could score a free Whopper from Hungry Jack's. Simply download the Hungry Jack's app for your chance to win.
Opinions are always divided when the AFL changes rules. Well, another change could be coming as early as next year. We'll look at that shortly. Welcome back. Deliberate out of bounds is one of the most contentious decisions an umpire can make. The AFL has confirmed it's giving serious consideration to adopting the last touch rule, which the SANFL introduced 7 years ago. The rule awards a free kick against the last player who possessed the ball before it crossed the boundary line. Thanks to Dr. Jones and partners, let's take a closer look at how the rule works.
Last disposal restart here for Adelaide.
Last touch has been paid and it's going to be to ball lace.
The last possession rule is a free kick against a team when they have either kicked or handballed the ball and it hasn't been touched by anyone else on the ground before going out of bounds.
Out of play and out of bounds on the full or last touch, take your pick.
Back in 2016, I'd been at the SANFL as the GM of footy for 12 months, and throughout that 2015 season we did have some concern around the way the game was being played. Data we looked at, it was the highest stoppage competition of any state league in the country and the lowest scoring. So we looked at a number of changes. One of them was the introduction of the last possession out of bounds rule.
Well, it's faster. That's the one thing, is that it removes doubt from the fans. If you see the ball come off the boot of your team, it's going to the other team, and immediately players can play on and get the ball back into play. So it removes the excess stoppage that we see from throw-in repeat contests. It opens the game up a little bit more.
From its introduction in 2016, we've seen a reduction in boundary throw-ins. We went from being the highest stoppage competition in the land to the lowest after the introduction of the rule, and we went from being the lowest scoring to the highest scoring.
It's fair to say the AFL are looking very closely at what the SANFL are doing with last disposal.
Towards the boundary line. How will this be assessed? Well, it has to be a free kick for Adelaide.
We do see in the AFL level there is a lot of boundary throw-ins. Teams like to defensively go around the corridor to avoid getting scored against. So this would completely open that up. So I think it could work at AFL level completely. It would make the game that's already quite fast even faster. But what we've seen at SANFL level is it really does create an attacking atmosphere for teams.
Vancouver with Rochelle palmed it down.
Now, the Crows' major partner, Toyota, is helping clubs around the country raise money and stay strong thanks to their Toyota Good for Footy raffle. Recently, we visited the Brighton Football Club to find out how the initiative has benefited their community.
The Brighton Bombers Football Club here is really important to the community because it brings everyone together from different parts of life. Everyone comes together. You've got the juniors, the seniors, all the volunteers in the clubs. People get to stay around the club that have been a part of it since they were this young, and they get to grow all the way through. I think it just really creates a place of belonging for everyone that they get to call home.
I love the club for the fact that it's an outlet from our day-to-day lives. We can get out here and forget about everything else that's going on. Interact with all sorts of people, different ages and backgrounds, and just have some fun. Playing for Brighton is just so much fun. I've met so many great people here, and getting around each other on a Saturday, what would you rather be doing?
last year, 2021, the Brighton Footy Club raised, I think it was just over $10,000 in the Toyota Good for Footy raffle. The raffle funds we generally use to help kickstart our next season, especially for the juniors. New footies, medical equipment and training equipment to help get the next season underway. Yeah, well, we find it really easy to use and promote because, you know, it's quite a generous offering from Toyota to give away, you know, a whole suite of cars and to be donating 100% of all proceeds raised back into the community football clubs right around Australia. It's a really easy one to communicate to our parents, family and friends, because we quite simply say you can buy a ticket, gets you a chance to win a Toyota, but 100% of your funds are reimbursed straight into the footy club, so you know it's a no-brainer really.
The Toyota Good for Footy raffle is a free and easy way to fundraise for your local footy club, with 100% of the proceeds going straight to grassroots clubs around the country. Register now at toyotagoodforfooty.raffletix.com.au. Of course, thousands of young players across the state dream of an AFL career, and there's one pathway that's proving quite successful. We'll check that out shortly. Five years ago, the club launched its academy with the aim of identifying, educating and improving the pool of skillful young footballers with the potential to play AFL. It's a pathway that's seen the likes of James Borlase and Tariq Newchurch join the Crows. With the help of Bendigo Bank, let's look at how the academy accelerates the talent of draft year players.
The Crows Academy is really important for the overall talent pool here in South Australia. It's really important for us to provide, in an AFL setting, the ultimate experience so they can learn the standards, rub shoulders with the AFL and AFLW players. For a draft age player or a 17-year-old player coming into the Adelaide Footy Club, we give them the opportunity to train with our AFL squad during the pre-seasons. They're allowed to come in once a week and we basically give them a watered-down version of what it is to be an AFL player, the training loads, the training opportunities, whether be here in the gym or out on the track. It helps them to come up to speed with the standards that are really vital in becoming an elite athlete, and helps them just jump over that line when they do get drafted. Currently we have two boys who have been training with our academy program with the AFL squad. Isaac Keilor, who's a Port Augusta boy who made the journey down through North Adelaide's pathway, and we've also got father-son Max Michaeloni, who's also in draft age. He's the vice captain of the South Australian state team, and we've also got a really up-and-coming father-son player coming through, Tyler Welsh, who's the son of Scott Welsh, and he's part of the recently victorious national championship squad. Tariq was a really good case study. Port Augusta lad, moved down to Adelaide and we helped with that move. Played his junior footy at North Adelaide Footy Club. Tariq came in quite a bit through in his 17th and 18th year, spent some time with our AFL squad, and what it enabled us to do was actually help in that transition from basically draft day onwards. He already knew the place, he knew the coaches, he knew the players, and that transition was a hell of a lot smoother than what it would have been had he not come through our academy programs. He's doing really well at SANFL level, and yeah, hopefully with a few more good quality games at SANFL level, he can bang down the door at AFL level. It's really tough to make it to the AFL level, regardless of whether you're in an academy program or you're within the traditional talent pathway. But hopefully the experiences we provide keep the players playing footy first and foremost, and then obviously hopefully strengthens up the SANFL competition, whether that be at underage level or at state league level.
Okay, time to go looking for our crow in the crowd. If you take a photo of yourself or a friend at one of our games and post it to social media, don't forget to use the hashtag WeFlyers1. Plenty of shots to choose from, but we can't go past you. Please email facingthecrowd@afc.com.au with photo ID to claim your prize of 2 tickets to Toyota's exclusive Hilux Hill at Adelaide Oval. Now, this year Matthew Nix has fielded questions from fans around the world, and this week's is one out of left field. With the help of Flight Centre, Josh Dwyer of Largs Bay wants to know, if the coach could recruit any athlete from another sport to play footy for the Crows, who would it be?
Josh, if there was an athlete from another sport that we could just slot in maybe at centre half forward or possibly in the ruck, LeBron James comes to mind. Reasonably athletic. I think he'd be an incredible AFL footballer. Now it's hard. It's a different game, but I just think with some of his attributes, he'd be an outstanding player.
I think I'd pick Tom Brady. I'm not sure he fits into our youth policy, but heck, what can't he do? Well, that just about wraps up our show. Remember to keep an eye on @TheCrowShow on Twitter for all the latest news. Also, check out the club's social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for your company, and together with Belinda Sloan, I look forward to joining you again at 12:30 next Saturday on 7, before the game against Sydney.
This program was proudly brought to you by the new Roadhouse Whopper and Roadhouse Jack's Fried Chicken at Hungry Jack's.